And that's an area that we really have got to attend to at the very young age. Youngsters learn very rapidly up to the age of 12. Very difficult to make major technical changes after the age of 12. So that's the age that we've got to really get to.
Tennis is brutal on the body. Just ask Mark Cox. This British tennis legend had an incredible career, but it wasn't without its fair share of pain. With injuries, controversies, and the pressure of being known, Cox's life was nothing short of a movie script. Let's get into it. Before Andy Murray clinched Wimbledon in 2013, breaking a 77-year drought for British men, there was a lesser-known but dedicated player, Mark Cox from Leicester. He didn't have the intense spotlight like Tim Henman or others, but he still managed to grab attention by making it to the round of 16 at Wimbledon 3 times from 1968 to 1979. He reached the world's top 15 in 1977 and snagged 10 singles titles during his career. His buddy Richard Tutt always talks about how down-to-earth Cox is, despite his achievements. For Cox, tennis wasn't about fame or money. It was all about the love of the game and representing his country at prestigious tournaments like Wimbledon and the Davis Cup. Now retired, Cox spent some time as a tennis commentator and still plays in senior tournaments. He sees tennis as a sport you can enjoy for a lifetime. It's amazing to see folks my age still hitting the courts, having fun, and staying active, he says. For Cox, tennis has been more than just a sport. It's been a lifelong passion that's brought joy and a sense of achievement. But who says a star is made without controversies? Even though he was, and still is, a legend, he too had a few scandals and difficulties along the way. But before we get into them, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks. Mark Cox mostly kept out of trouble during his career. However, he did find himself in the spotlight over a controversy involving another tennis coach, Claire Light, in 2007. Claire was accused of sexually assaulting a 13-year-old girl she was coaching. Mark had previously worked with her and knew her coaching style, so he provided a character reference during her trial. He said he had always found her to be professional and hadn't seen any inappropriate behavior or bullying. Unfortunately, Claire was eventually found guilty. Even though Mark wasn't directly involved, his connection to the case and his decision to vouch for Claire raised a few eyebrows. Aside from this incident, Mark's tennis career was pretty standard, but like all athletes, he dealt with his share of injuries. In fact, he experienced several common tennis injuries over the years. Muscle strains and tears were a frequent issue for him, affecting his shoulders, back, legs, and arms, common areas of strain from the physical demands of the game. He also suffered from tennis elbow, a typical condition for tennis players due to the repetitive use of forearm muscles. Wrist injuries were another challenge, including sprains and even fractures, from the constant racket handling and ball striking. His knees took a beating too, from all the quick movements and changes in direction on the court, leading to various knee-related injuries. Through it all, Mark had access to excellent medical treatment and rehabilitation, which helped him manage these injuries and continue playing. Despite the physical challenges, his love for the game kept him going, highlighting the resilience and dedication needed to compete at a professional level in tennis. Sure, his controversies and injuries were fleeting, but don't I dare say his career was too? This man had an insane career, and it would be unfair to move on without giving you guys a glimpse of his grandeur. Mark Cox, who was born on July 5, 1943, is one of those classic tennis players from England who really made a mark back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. At his peak in October 1977, he was ranked as the world's number 12 player, which was pretty impressive. Mark grew up going to Wigston Grammar School in Leicester and then moved on to Millfield School in Somerset. He didn't just play tennis, he hit the books pretty hard too. He ended up studying economics at Downing College, Cambridge, where he also joined the university's tennis club. His first big tournament was the Torquay Indoor Championship on November 3, 1958. Over his career, Mark bagged 22 singles titles and 3 doubles titles. He had some memorable moments on the court, like reaching the quarterfinals at the U.S. National Championships in 1966 and making it to the finals in Cincinnati in 1977. He also played a key role in Great Britain's Davis Cup team, helping them reach the finals in 1978 against the United States. One of his standout moments was beating Pancho Gonzalez at the British Hardcourt Championships in Bournemouth in May 1968. It was a tough match that lasted over 2 hours, and Mark won in 5 sets. He also had big wins against top seeds like Rod Laver at the 1971 Australian Open and Ken Rosewall at the 1972 U.S. Open. In his first Grand Slam match at the 1970 U.S. Open, he even defeated the future number 1, Jimmy Connors. Mark hung up his rackets in 1981, and interestingly, after his last title win in 1977, it took another 17 years before another British player clinched a top-level tour title. After retiring, Mark didn't just disappear from the tennis scene. He became a coach and shared his knowledge as a television commentator for the BBC. He's been pretty influential in shaping the next generation of players and sharing his passion for the game with viewers at home. Outside of tennis, Mark puts a lot of effort into charity work. He's a patron of CRY, Cardiac Risk in the Young, a charity that works to prevent young sudden cardiac deaths. He's also an ambassador for the Wynn Tennis Academy at Bisham. Nowadays, Mark lives with his wife Susie in London, enjoying life away from the professional tennis circuit. So Mark Cox's journey through tennis and beyond shows how deep his love for the sport runs, both as a player and in his life after professional tennis. Talking of his style of play, Mark Cox was a bit of a tennis wizard, especially with his left-handed play that threw off a lot of his right-handed competitors. He had this cool, calculated way of mixing up spins and speeds that kept everyone on their toes. Plus, he wasn't just glued to the baseline. He knew when to charge the net and shift gears, which made him a tough opponent in both singles and doubles. Mark's game really shone on grass, especially at Wimbledon, where he put up some memorable performances. But what's equally impressive is what he did after retiring from professional tennis. He didn't just fade away, but instead shifted gears to coaching and broadcasting, sharing his deep love and knowledge of the game with others. Beyond the game, Mark really stepped up his game with charity work, especially with organizations focused on preventing young, sudden cardiac deaths. It's a testament to his character, showing he's as much about giving back as he is about tennis. So yeah, Mark Cox wasn't just a fantastic player, he was also a standout guy off the court. His legacy in tennis is about more than just great shots and big wins. It's about passion, mentorship, and making a difference. He's definitely left a mark that goes beyond just scores and titles. Mark Cox's tennis career is a great example of how passion and resilience can help you succeed in a tough sport like tennis. He's faced everything from the intense pressure of playing at Wimbledon to serious injuries, but he never let that stop him. His love for tennis kept him going, even when controversies tried to knock him down. Even after he stopped playing professionally, Mark didn't leave the tennis world. He switched to coaching and commentating, using his experience to help and inspire the next generation of players. This shows his lifelong commitment to the sport and how he's helped make tennis better for everyone coming up after him. Dealing with injuries like muscle strains and tennis elbow is part of the game, and Mark's journey shows just how tough tennis can be on the body. His ability to handle these injuries and keep playing well shows how important good medical care and staying tough can be. Looking back at Mark Cox's career, you can see it's not just about what he achieved on the court. It's about his ongoing passion for tennis and how he's continued to impact the sport. His life is a powerful story of dedication, overcoming challenges, and a deep love for the game. If you're inspired by Mark's story or just want to learn more about the world of professional sports, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more stories like his. Also, if you're a big fan, make sure to check out our latest one on John Leod. I'm sure you'll love it.